Picture the moment. It is 6 in the evening, the kitchen is loud, and your 3-year-old has just hurled a cup across the floor because the wrong cartoon ended. Your pulse spikes, and your mind, in less than a second, hands you 3 tools. Punish. Take something away, send them to their room. Yell. Get loud enough that they finally stop. Or bribe. If you calm down, you can have a treat. Almost every parent reaches for one of these. But here is what nobody tells you. Those 3 tools, the punishment, the yelling, and the reward, are the very things quietly teaching your child to need them. There is an older approach, common in many Japanese homes, that throws all 3 out and tends to raise children who are calmer, not because they are controlled, but because something steadier was built inside them. This is not about letting them run wild. It is the opposite. It builds more self-control, not less. By the end of this, you will have it too. And the first piece is going to sound backwards because it is not about your child at all. Most parents miss this because we were taught that calm is something you enforce in a child, from the outside, with consequences. The Japanese frame treats calm as something you grow, from the inside, by being it first. That single shift changes everything that comes after. So start with the part that feels backwards. A young child cannot yet calm themselves. The brain region that manages big feelings, the prefrontal cortex, is years from finished. So when your toddler is flooded, there is no internal brake to press. What they do instead is borrow yours. Researchers at Harvard's Center on the Developing Child call this co-regulation. A child's nervous system reads and syncs to a regulated adult nearby, long before they can soothe themselves. Your steadiness is not a nice extra. It is the actual mechanism by which they learn to settle. This is the quiet engine behind the Japanese idea of shitsuke, the cultivation of habits and self-control. Shitsuke is often translated as discipline, but it has almost nothing to do with punishment. It means training the way you would tend a young plant, through routine, repetition, and above all, the adult modeling the very calm they hope to see. The child does not learn composure from a lecture about composure. They absorb it from a parent who stays composed while the cup is still rolling across the floor. Here is what this looks like for you. The next time the meltdown hits, your first job is not your child. It is your own breath. One slow exhale before you say a word. You are not ignoring the behavior. You are loading the only tool that actually transfers, a calm body for them to sink to. When you lower your voice instead of raising it, you are not being passive. You are co-regulating. And every time you do, you lay down the wiring they will use to do it alone someday, which leads to the thing most of us get wrong in the very next second. We rush in. A child stumbles into a problem, 2 kids tug at one toy, a tower collapses, and the adult instinct is to swoop, fix, and instruct. But here is where it gets interesting. In many Japanese preschools, teachers do the opposite. They wait. There is a word for it, Mimamoru, which joins the characters for watching and protecting. It means watchful waiting, not neglect, not ignoring. A deliberate, attentive pause that gives the child room to notice, struggle, and self-correct before an adult steps in. The education researchers Akiko Hayashi and Joseph Tobin documented this in Japanese early childhood classrooms, and it has been described in early childhood research as a strategy of intentional non-intervention. The adult stays close and ready. They simply do not rescue too fast. The mechanism is simple and powerful. Every time you solve a problem your child could have solved, you teach a small lesson. You cannot handle this, but I can. Every time you wait and they work it out, you teach the opposite. The struggle is where the learning lives. Calm, capable kids are very often kids who were trusted to wrestle with small frustrations, while a steady adult watched nearby. Here is what this looks like for you. Your child is fumbling with a shoe, or 2 siblings are bickering over a toy, and your hand twitches toward it. Pause. Count to 10 in your head. Watch. If no one is in danger and nothing is breaking, let them reach for the next move themselves. You are not doing nothing. You are doing the hardest, most respectful thing a parent can do, trusting your child to grow. And calm tends to follow trust, because a child who feels capable has far less to panic about. So if you are not punishing and you are not rushing in, what do you do when the behavior is genuinely a problem? Here is where the Japanese instinct and the science meet most cleanly. You do not yell, you explain the ripple. The psychologist Martin Hoffman spent decades studying how children develop a conscience, and he found that one approach builds empathy more reliably than any other. He called it induction. Instead of stop it or else, you point the child toward the effect of their action on another person. When you grabbed that, look, your friend is sad. That hurt your brother. See his face. Induction works because it does not just suppress the behavior. It builds the internal radar, the empathy that makes a child want to behave well even when no one is watching. Yelling does the opposite. It can stop the behavior in the moment, but it floods the child with fear, and a flooded brain learns almost nothing except to avoid the adult. The researchers Ming-Tae Wang and Sarah Kenny found that harsh verbal discipline, the shouting and the scolding, is linked over time to more behavior problems and lower mood in children, not fewer. The very tool meant to fix the behavior tends to deepen it. Here is what this looks like for you. When your child does something you need to correct, drop your volume instead of raising it, get down to their level and name two things: the feeling and the ripple. You were angry, and when you hit, it hurt. That is it. You have corrected the behavior and taught empathy in one calm breath, without a single raised voice. Do this 1,000 times and you are not managing a child. You are growing a conscience. And now, the most counterintuitive piece of all, the one that explains why the reward jar may be working against you. In 1973, the psychologists Mark Lepper, David Green, and Richard Nisbet ran a now famous study with preschoolers who love to draw. They gave one group a reward for drawing, something the children already enjoyed for its own sake. And then they watched. The rewarded children, once the prizes stopped, drew less and with less joy than the children who were never rewarded at all. The reward had quietly replaced the child's own desire to do the thing. Psychologists call this the over-justification effect, and it is one of the most reliable findings in the field. When you pay a child to do what they already want to do, you teach them to want the payment, not the thing. This is why bribing calm tends to backfire. Be good, and you will get a treat turns calm into a transaction, and transactions need ever bigger currency. So what fills the gap instead? In Japan, much of it rests on a concept named by the psychiatrist Takeo Doi in his book, The Anatomy of Dependence. The word is amae, the deep, secure feeling of being able to lean on another person's love and know it will hold. A child rich in amae does not need to be bribed into calm, because the thing that most regulates a small human is already in place: the unshakable sense that their person is there and that they are safe. Here is what this looks like for you. Instead of if you behave, you get a reward. Let the warmth be unconditional and the connection be the constant. Notice the good moments out loud with delight, not with prizes. You waited so patiently. A child who feels securely held, not constantly bargained with, carries calm the way they carry your love, as something that is simply theirs. Now the honest part. You will not do any of this perfectly, and you are not supposed to. There will be evenings when your voice rises anyway, when you swoop in too fast, when the candy comes out because you are exhausted and just need the noise to stop. That does not undo the work. Donald Winnicott, the pediatrician who spent his life watching mothers and babies, gave parents one of the kindest ideas in all of psychology: the good enough parent. Not the perfect one, the good enough one. The child does not need a flawless adult. They need a real one who keeps coming back. The yelling is not the rupture that breaks a child. The absence of repair is. So when you lose it, and you will, the move is simple. Reconnect. I got loud. That was not about you. I am here. That repair, done again and again, is itself the lesson in regulation. Your child is not learning that adults never fall. They are learning that love finds its way back. And on the days you feel like you are failing, please hear this. You are doing it right. So picture that kitchen again. The cup on the floor, the noise, your pulse climbing, and those 3 old tools rising up: punish, yell, bribe. Only this time, you set all 3 down. You take one slow breath and let your calm reach them first. You wait a beat longer than feels comfortable and trust them to find the next step. You name the feeling and the ripple instead of raising your voice. And you let the love stay free. never something they have to earn. Here's the inversion worth keeping. You were taught that you control a child into calm. The truth is, you can only grow a child into it. Punishment, yelling, and rewards all try to manage the behavior from the outside. Shitsuke, Mimamoru, amae, and the science underneath them build something on the inside that no consequence ever could. Because you are not your child's warden, deciding what they are allowed to feel. You are their safe harbor, the steady place they return to until the calm becomes their own. If one of these 4 shifts spoke to you most, share which one below. And if this gave you a softer way to parent tonight, follow good beginnings. And share it with one tired parent who needs to hear it too.